OK, let's see what else is hitting headlines around the world now. Arrest warrants have been issued for members of the Mexican military who may have been involved in the disappearance of 43 students in the state of Guerrero 6 years ago. Parents of the students have been calling for justice outside the Attorney General building in Mexico City. So far, only the remains of 2 students have been found. The US peace envoy to Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, says Taliban negotiators will not accept a ceasefire until after a political settlement is reached. The Afghan government and Taliban have been struggling to agree a framework for the first round of peace talks in Doha. The move dashes hopes of a comprehensive ceasefire as an interim or goodwill gesture. The security forces in Belarus have again arrested protesters at a weekly women's march against President Alexander Lukashenko's disputed election victory last month. 500,000 people have signed an online petition to negotiate a transition of power.
President Trump nominates Conservative Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the US Supreme Court in a move that could have a major impact on landmark legal rulings. Thousands of protesters defy Israel's nationwide lockdown to demand the resignation of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over corruption charges. The people of Switzerland will decide on Sunday whether or not to keep their Free Movement of People treaty with the European Union, a move that could affect their long-standing access to Europe's free trade area. Those wanting to ditch the treaty say the move will allow Switzerland to control its borders and select only the immigrants it wants. But those in favour of keeping it intact argue that losing it will plunge a healthy economy into recession and deprive hundreds of thousands of Swiss citizens their freedom to live and work across Europe.
Sir David Attenborough has been hosted by the Duke of Cambridge for a private viewing of his new documentary at Kensington Palace.
William and the veteran broadcaster sat together to watch the programme A Life on Our Planet. Sir David then chatted to the Duke and Duchess and their 3 children and presented Prince George with a fossilised giant tooth from an extinct shark. In a world-exclusive interview for BBC Breakfast, Sir David explained why young people are so important for the planet.
I've been making television programmes, and certainly for the last 20, 30 years, I've ended each of them by saying, look, the world is in peril, look, we are damaging it, and it's all our humanity's fault, and very little has happened. And yet suddenly, within the last 5 years maybe, suddenly it's as though people have been woken up. And it's young people, really. It's young people who are shaping their consciences and not before time.
He just looks amazing, doesn't he? And you can see the full interview with Sir David Attenborough on tomorrow's Breakfast. He opens up to Louise about the future of the planet and his experience of living in lockdown.
It's just turned 12 minutes past 6. Good morning to you. You're with Breakfast from BBC News. Let's run you through the front of today's newspapers, because The Observer says the Prime Minister is facing a massive revolt from MPs who disagree over the way he's imposed coronavirus restrictions without consulting Parliament first. The paper says a cross-party backlash is taking shape.
Prince Charles has written for the Sunday Telegraph this morning. He warns that 1 million young people could need, quote, urgent help to protect their futures from the worst effects of the pandemic.
The Mail on Sunday's top story is an open letter to Boris Johnson from stars including the celebrity chef Jamie Oliver and the fitness trainer Joe Wicks, calling for a block on poor quality food coming to the UK after Brexit. It also features that picture of Sir David Attenborough meeting with the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge.
I wonder what he made of that shark's tooth. And The Independent this morning online leads on a special report saying that the coronavirus outbreak has pushed thousands of charities to the brink.